Welcome to the PTTS. Today's date is March 17, 2023, Friday. My name is Nang Hong Lam. Okay, so basically this morning I woke up. I still was kind of upset at myself for what happened yesterday. Basically, like my cup of coffee, I placed it on the table and I accidentally elbowed it and it spilled on my table and almost got to my laptop. So I was very upset at myself. If it got to my laptop, it could, affect my laptop. So kind of like I was very upset at myself for doing that. Kind of like in a way. So basically I was upset at myself yesterday and kind of like in a way. So I took the step, trying to not get so upset at myself by open up my laptop. Basically take my laptop apart and kind of like take a picture of each of the parts inside the laptop and things like that. And kind of in a way, just telling myself that I have done this before. That's how in the past I have took computers apart and put them back together and knowing where each of the part is and things like that. Kind of like in a way, just telling myself to not be so upset at myself and things like that. It was just so kind of like in a way, and it was just I felt. But there was, I think this morning, the reason I'm still upset at myself is just because of my budget problem right now. I felt that maybe I couldn't afford to purchase the parts to replace if the coffee spill did affect it. Kind of like in a way that I think that's the reason I was still upset at myself. So kind of like I felt this morning I woke up, I was still upset at myself. I think for that reason, because because of the budget problem right now, I couldn't afford to buy new parts to replace my old parts. So basically this morning, because of still being upset at myself, I kind of like just did it using this camcorder to record myself. Like I was saying, this Sony Handycam, I used it for, okay, 1 second. Okay, this one's also called Sony Handycam, but this one, the model number is CX12. So the CX12 model, okay, both of them are called Sony Handycam. So this one, okay, so it's a CX12. I used the CX12 this morning. Okay, I'm gonna put my coffee on the side to see. I'm just still some cautious about it. So I don't want to have another spill. So I'm gonna put my coffee on that side. Okay. Anyway, so So the CX, basically the CX12, I use it like I was saying in my other videos, is I use it like kind of like a rehearsing or like just notes about what I want to say and things like that. So basically I just did like a video about just the problem, the upsetting situations I'm in, about still upset at myself for spilling the coffee and almost got on my laptop and things like that. So kind of like I was just basically going over that and was just cussing. Well, because of the whole upsetting situation, I felt that I wanted to cuss out loud and things like that. It was just because, and I concluded that it was just like the upsetting at myself would only create more upsetting situations. I felt that I should probably just, kind of want to get over that on upsetting about myself and things like that. Okay, so basically in this video, I'm going to title it Electrical Engineer and Computer Technicians. So basically just going to go over the history of how I related myself in these fields, like electrical engineer and computer technicians. So kind of just go over the whole history of it. Just like, so basically I'm just trying to summarize like the whole history, the events in my life, how it all started and all of that, like how I got involved in these fields of electrical engineers and computer technicians. Basically, like there is a lot of arguments / conflicts that was in my life at that time while I was making these decisions, is like how that was related to the whole electrical engineers and computer technicians fields. Okay, so pretty much I mean I'm not gonna go over like, you know, all those, especially like those 4 years of time from April 2017 to 2020, where in that 4 year time basically I was posting my articles up on my website, TRATCT.TUMBLR.com regularly, kind of like in a way I would post ahead of time my schedule, how those articles going to be posted up, so that people would get a kind of like heads up, you know, could plan ahead and what to expect that I will be posting up and things like that for that 4 years of time. So I felt that I'm not just gonna in this one video gonna go over everything, you know, kind of like all my whole history and everything, kind of like, you know, in a way it would take out a lot of the video time and things like that. At the same time, there is that whole significant versus insignificant argument, you know. It's like I felt that, you know, taking all these steps and doing all these things, you know, it's like. So I'm just gonna start on that decision. It's just like there's this argument. It was because when I made those decisions, I had to build up status, kind of like in a way I was accumulated, like at 2005, which I would having accumulations of around, I mean, because of it is weekly events, because I joined a weekly tournament, so a few months could affect the number of counts, so kind of like in a way around 2005. So it can't be exactly, because just within months of time could affect the counts of first places I accumulated. At the same time, there's that whole argument, that significant versus insignificant argument. It's just like, you know, I'm trying to trace everything, all those events in my life and everything. Okay, so on 2005, I accumulated around, let's see, like 73 from the Pokemon tournaments, 40 from the Yu-Gi-Oh tournaments. So that's 113, and then some at the time, so it can't be exact because of the annual events and weekly and annual. So probably like around 20 on the Hero Click tournament. So 20, that's 133. So around 133 first places at 2005. So because of the accumulation of 133 first places, there's that whole, you know, having that, you know, it makes like my status seems like a noticeable status because of the accumulation of 133 first places. So basically, there's that whole argument, you know, why it just like why it's kind of like in a way, even in very degenerated situations, is having all those accumulation 133 first places, the tournament will show you some kind of accommodations and things like that for accumulated 133 first places. It's kind of like in a way, there's that why, why. So kind of like in a way, because of the whole tournament accommodation, it's just like, no matter what happened to me, because of the whole tournament accommodations, it seems like my situation would be better than other people's situations. So basically that's the whole argument, and also I would consider it as in a better situation because of that. So pretty much it's just, so in a way, like when I made those decisions to get into the electrical engineer and computer technicians fields, so there's these arguments. It's just like, no matter what happened to you, you have tournament accommodations, so you would be in a better situation than other people. Felt like there's that whole arguments to it, kind of like in a way, it felt like and also it's just because of the accumulation 133 first places at the time, so it would also put me as a noticeable status and things like that. So anyway, basically I based on 2005, that's when I made that, I consider it as more important decisions to stay in college and look more into those fields, is like the electrical engineer and computer technicians field. So I felt that 2005, that was the more important decisions I made. And so for those who have followed the events in my life would know why I made that decision, kind of like in a way why I come to that point of making that decisions. Basically, it's just because of the whole, like I was saying, like I was just been saying, that because of the whole argument that no matter what happened to me, there's that tournament accommodations, so I would be in a better situation than other people, and also because of my accumulation of 133 first places, my status would be noticeable. So anyway, that's how it started. I remember basically because of those arguments, is kind of like in a way, and then there are arguments of like the whole college, like college expectations and things like that, like people who would, like I'm saying like these more like the more severe cases, arguments is on these college cases where the student would commit suicide, and if they don't make it to these colleges and things like that, like those severe cases of student committing suicide if they can't accept it to a certain college or university and things like that. So it's just because of this whole severe cases arguments, so kind of like in a way both sides of the argument, basically like the whole college side of the argument and then the tournament side of the argument. So in a way, like I felt that I was in that situation of having to deal with both sides of the arguments, is like the college, because I made that decision. I felt I was dealing with both sides of the arguments. So in a way, it's just, I felt that I'm being more neutral to it. Basically, I took the more neutral because